They say that history is the greatest of all teachers, and that tales of past deeds define who we are in the present, and what we shall be in the future. It is said that such tales shall, with each telling, illuminate us all with the light of truth. I shall tell you of such a tale. It is a tale quite familiar to me, for I have spent nearly a lifetime piecing it together and chronicling it here within this book. For years I have pondered its passages, studying every line, committing each word to memory. Perhaps now, in the telling of it, I shall at last find the answers I seek. Our story takes place in the northern region of Faerun, known as Icewind Dale. It is a harsh, frozen land, cut off from the rest of the world by a wall of jagged peaks called the Spine of the World. For centuries, the icy plains of the Dale have been home to the barbarian peoples of the Uthgard and Regedman. Huddled together in small, closely knit tribes, the barbarians lived simple lives, free, proud, and fiercely independent. Until the day an archmage named Erakan came to Icewind Dale. With an army of mercenaries, Erakan sought to conquer the north and force the fierce barbarians into slavery. Long weeks of battle followed, and the scattered barbarian tribes suffered terrible losses. Defeat seemed inevitable. In their darkest hour, a barbarian shaman named Jared came forth and demanded a council between all the remaining tribes of the north. A respected warrior, Jared persuaded the council to put aside their differences and unite against Erakan. Strengthened by a new sense of purpose, the barbarians rallied behind their new leader. The combined might of the Northmen proved more than a match for Erakan, who had counted on the division of the tribes. Wave after wave of barbarian warriors tore into Erakan's hired army, forcing them on the defensive and ultimately into full retreat. As his army crumbled around him, Erakan had time for one last desperate act before his enemies descended upon him. Drawing upon his remaining power, the Archmage breached the planar boundaries, tearing open a portal to the lower planes. The foolish Archmage's cries of victory immediately turned to shrieks of terror as the hideous and twisted shapes of demonkind materialized from the portal and poured onto the battlefield. The sudden appearance of the demons drove the combatants, barbarian and mercenary alike, to turn to meet the new threat side by side. The remaining warriors bravely charged the portal to drive the hellspawn back, and were slaughtered by the hundreds. As his people fell around him, the barbarian shaman, Jared, looked up from the blood-drenched snow of the battlefield and caught sight of a lone figure high upon a ridge in the distance. Jared immediately recognized this vision as an omen from his god Tempus, and in that instant, he knew what had to be done. Shouting cries to his god, he charged through the ranks of the demons and plunged into the portal. As Jared's blood fused with the energies of the portal, an explosion of white light engulfed the battlefield. When the light subsided, the demons were gone, and the portal was closed. In its place hovered a disk of solid stone. Frozen within the center of the disk was Jared's body, locked in his final moment of agony, in his final moment of triumph for all eternity. But that is not the end of our tale. It is but the beginning.
Hello, and welcome back to the channel. I am excited for this one. Um, this has been a long time coming in several attempts. So, yeah, this is going to be a mostly 98% blind playthrough of Icewind Dale Enhanced Edition. As I said, I've tried this multiple times. The furthest I've gotten was the first like big story arc in Kuldahar. I did the quest there and made it back to Kuldahar, and after defeating the major enemy of that particular quest and finding out the fate of the person and some other people in Kuldahar. So it's not very far. But this episode is going to be about character creation and a little bit of a prologue and character introductions. And I wanted to give a little bit of a preamble and prologue. So before we jump into the adventure, I want to give a quick breakdown of how Icewind Dale compares to the other big Infinity Engine games, Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate 2, and Planescape Torment. These three games run on the same engine, but play very differently. And each one represents a different philosophy of classic Dungeons & Dragons game design. Let's start with Baldur's Gate. Let's start with the Baldur's Gate series. Baldur's Gate, it's a story-driven RPG about your character's journey across the Sword Coast. It mixes exploration, role-playing choices, and combat in a wide open world. You choose your companions from a pretty big cast of characters. You react to the world, and the world will react to you. The pace is pretty steady, and the gameplay encourages wandering, questing, and discovering things in whatever order you like. Baldur's Gate 2 expands on all of that dramatically. It's deeper, it's more cinematic, and it's far more intricate. All the characters and companions have personal quests, romances, moral conflicts, and the combat leans heavily into complex spell duels, mage protections, and high-level abilities, which are super fun to use, by the way. Super fun to use. But Baldur's Gate 2, it's all about epic storytelling and high-powered adventure. In short, I guess you could say Baldur's Gate is exploration and discovery, and Baldur's Gate 2 is character-driven epic fantasy. It's the way that I look at it. Now, Icewind Dale, it takes a very different approach, where Baldur's Gate focuses on story and companions. Icewind Dale focuses on tactical combat, party building, and dungeon crawling. You create your entire 6-person party from scratch, and the game expects you to think like a D&D dungeon master, building a balanced adventuring group. The story's atmospheric, the music is exquisite. I'm going to give you that again. The music is exquisite, and the setting is very memorable. Even though I haven't gotten all the way to the end, what I have played just really imprinted on me. And all of my short experiences with this game match up to what the people in reviews say about this game and what fanboys say about this game. And yes, I guess I could be a little nicer and not call them fanboys, but there are some people who really gush over this game. It might be a little bit cringy at times, but I feel them on that. I have that same passion on my top 4 favorite video games of all time. So, but I humbly and intellectually honestly admit I'm a fanboy of my top 4. But anyway, the main focus is combat strategy with Icewind Dale. You'll cast a lot of area of effect spells all the time. You have to manage your position very carefully in this game. And you face large battle groups. It really tests your party's composition and your skill. If Baldur's Gate is like a fantasy novel Icewind Dale is like a classic tabletop dungeon adventure where your teamwork, your tactics matter above all else. And then we have Planescape Torment, which is almost the polar opposite of Icewind Dale. Planescape, it is a narrative masterpiece. There's no other way to describe it. It's philosophical. It's very strange. It's very personal and incredibly dialogue heavy. Combat is practically an afterthought. The real game is in the writing. You solve problems through conversation, introspection, and story choices. The characters are some of the best written companions in RPG history, and the world of Sigil is unlike anything else in its genre. And yes, I said Sigil, not Sigil. I know it's spelled Sigil, but the original creator of this, even though he spelled it that way, pronounces it Sigil. It's how he intended it to be pronounced, so that's the way I pronounce it. If Icewind Dale is a dungeon crawl and Baldur's Gate is like a classic fantasy adventure, Planescape Torment, it's basically a visual novel you get to play. So why are all three of these things great? Because each of them excels in a very different area. Baldur's Gate is great because of freedom, exploration, and classic adventuring. Baldur's Gate 2 is great because of its deep companions, the branching story, and its very high-level D&D spell system. Icewind Dale is great because it's great because it's the definitive tactical Infinity Engine experience, I guess is probably the best way I could describe it. It's fast, it's challenging, and it's very rewarding. Planescape Torment is great because no other RPG focuses so intensely on storytelling, themes, and character writing. Sorry, Telltale Games, you don't measure up. Not dunking on Telltale Games, but just my honest opinion, they do not measure up to Planescape Torment as far as storytelling and story-driven genre type of games. Anyway, that's why Icewind Dale stands out to me so much, and why I'm very excited to play it and for everyone to experience it with me on my very first time playing it from start to finish. It strips out all the fluff, focuses on combat and atmosphere, and becomes its own unique experience. I am I like the combat the most. I love the story, and make no mistake, Icewind Dale 100% has a very good story so far, like from the stuff that I've done, and I believe all of the fanboys and all of the reviews that I've read that tell me that they think the story is pretty solid. Now, there's plenty of people who think it's weak. Sure, that's their opinion, but my short experience with it, I find it, I would say, let's say average. It is enough to make me want to know what happens, and it's not one of those things where I have to ignore the story to enjoy the game. So, make no mistake, even though this is combat heavy, it still has a pretty good story in my opinion. And it makes me want to know what happens. So that's something else to help get me to get its hooks into me early on, to make me want to see what happens next and continue playing. So anyway, with all that said, let's start the journey into the Frozen North, and we'll move on to the character creation. So, as always, we are going to play Thalic. And I did get custom portraits working, by the way. Thank God. He's going to be a human, and Thalic. So, for people who haven't seen any of my old videos, Thalic is the very first role-playing character I ever made back in technically late 1995, I think. Maybe somewhere around late 1995 to early 1996, or mid 1996. I was roughly around a freshman in high school at the time, and my third favorite game of all time was out, and I wanted to create my own name. I ended up creating a name. I created the name Thalic. I think I kind of get to listen. I don't think I could create anything that's 100% original. I'm sure the name Thalic, or at least the spelling and pronounced in a different way, was invented at some point by somebody before me. But I still feel like I get to claim some degree of originality, because the way that I came up with it, basically I started off with a Marvel supervillain everyone's familiar with, Thanos. Not because I didn't particularly care for Thanos, I didn't dislike him, but I didn't like him either. But I was a big fan of Marvel when I was a kid, so naturally I'd start thinking of villain names and hero names, and eventually came to Thanos. I'm like, I like the idea of it starting with a T. And then I started going through the alphabet. T-A, no. T-B, no. T-C, no. I get to T-H. I'm like, T-H, okay. T-H-A, th. Wait, there might be something there. T-H-A, I get to L, I get to thou. I'm like, ooh, I kind of like that. Then T-H-A-L-A. Thala? No, that sounds kind of like a chick. And then I make my way T-H-A-L-A, and I get to C. I'm like, Thalic. I'm like, wait a minute. Replace the C with a K. Boom, there it was. And that's how I created the name, and I've used it ever since. So that's my main character name, and that's how I came up with it, and that's how I feel like I get to claim originality. And the original character was a two-handed melee character that could cast spells decent. He wasn't proficient, but wasn't terrible either. And I feel like a paladin in D&D kind of suits that theme pretty well. So we're going to make him a paladin. And paladins, they can wear helmets, they can wear any armor. We only get 2 points in specialization, but that's fine. They get lay on hands once per day. Heal the target for 2 hit points per level of the paladin. We can cure disease. We may use detect invisibility at will once per round. May cast a special protection from evil spell. May smite evil ability once per day. Add 1d6 plus 1d6 points of damage per every 3 levels of the paladin to a single evil aligned opponent. We could turn undead as a cleric 2 levels lower, starting at level 3. We may cast priest spells starting at level 6. At 3rd level, we gain the Divine Courage ability, becoming immune to fear. That's great. We receive a +2 bonus to all saving throws. I absolutely love that. Paladins are completely immune of all forms of disease, magical or mundane. We can only be lawful good, and we have a hit die of 10. And we are going to go with an undead hunter because, from what I understand, there's a lot of undead in this game. So the advantages of being the class kit undead hunter: we gain +3 bonus to hit and damage rolls on all undead creatures. We are immune to hold and level drain. Major advantage. And on top of that, we're eventually going to become immune to fear. My Baldur's Gate 2 playthrough I have uploaded, my first one that I uploaded, I'm not sure if I'll upload more at this point, but I played a Cavalier. Now we're going to do this as an undead hunter. The disadvantage is we lose the cure disease ability and lay on hands ability, and I just don't care about that. Our alignment can only be lawful good, and our abilities. Now we all know this. I wanted to... Oh, I just rolled past an 89. Are you kidding me? Why? You know, I don't get text messages. I don't get text messages 99% of the time, but when I do, it's typically whenever I record. It's like somebody out there just sends out some text message like, all right, he's recording, quick, text him. Forgot what I was saying before that. There's an 89. Oh man, 1895. How beautiful. So we want 18 charisma because that's what's important to a paladin. Give me Constitution. I'll take Dex. We're not going to be very smart. We're going to have 13 wisdom, so it's clear we have some life experience. We're not exactly a wizened old man, and we're not very smart. But we could throw punches with the best of them. So we're going to go two-handed sword to start. Probably long swords as well, but before that I do want two-handed weapon style. You know, I might do longsword, or I might do halberd. Maybe halberd. I don't know the weapons in this game. I mean, literally, like I said, this is a 98% blind playthrough. Yep, I like that. And next, we are going to make a dwarf fighter cleric. He is going to be our tank. He is going to be lawful good. Yeah. And this character's name is going to be Borton Frostville, based off an old buddy of mine that I played Ashron's Call with. He was a very unique human then, and probably even more so now. He was a mild role player. If he knew you weren't into role playing, he wouldn't try to role play with you much. Like, he might slip into it here and there because it was kind of who he was, but quite literally one of the most pleasant human beings that I ever had the joy of playing with. Most MMORPGs, look, people are cunts. People are really just awful these days. And back then, he was a breath of fresh air. He would seem godly to me now. Because most people nowadays treat everyone else like disposable NPCs, and they want everything given to them. They don't want to earn any of their knowledge, their skills. They all follow min-max guides, listen to their YouTube and streamer overlords. Borton was never about any of that. Now, back in 1999, I actually met him around probably 2001, actually. That's when I officially moved to Ashron's Call. So about 2001, I meet Borton on the server Frostfell. And I met him in my character's hometown that I kind of, quote-unquote, settled in, of Glendenwood. This guy was so unique. He was so fun. And he would go out of his way without being asked to help people. And he didn't expect you to swear allegiance to him. And for those who don't know Ashron's Call, if you swear allegiance to a particular character, that character becomes your patron, and they will receive a portion of the experience that you earn. It was a really cool system. I really encourage people to look it up. But anyway, if you were someone's patron, like you kind of had an unwritten, unofficial duty to help your what are called vassals, people who swore allegiance to you. And even though I wasn't his vassal, he would always buff my character and help me out. That's a great strength score on top of a high roll. Anyway, he would always do these little things for me. And one thing that was really cool about Asheron's Call was the fact that I'm sorry, thinking and talking, you all know how that works out. I'm sorry, give me a second, I'll continue. Anyway, one really cool, unique thing about the early Asheron's Call game, it was that its spell system used spell components like a traditional role-playing game did. And when you did that, God, I highly encourage people to look this up. Basically, you tried out different spell components when you hit a certain level. Spell levels at that time 1 through 6, 6 being the highest level spell you can cast, using different components, and you tried different components with an appropriate enough or high enough level skill. In, say, war magic is what you were trying to learn, or life magic. You try to cast a spell and test different components until the spell worked, and you learn levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. And eventually people used a program to figure out the math behind it, and everyone just looked it up or used the program to learn the spells automatically. Not Borton. He played the game the way it was originally intended to be played, and always told me and other people he liked, like, listen, when your buffs run out, tell me and we'll meet back up and I'll rebuff you. He'd stop what he's doing and come back. Anyway, I could keep going on, but we're past the rolling section, so there's no need for filler of story. But this character is going to be based off of him, and I miss the guy. I wish I still had contact with him. A great human being. So for him, we're gonna go Mace, Warhammer, and I believe Flail. He's gonna be our tank. I don't know if Sword and Shield style works in this game. I know in Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 it doesn't work. I don't know if that was ever fixed or not, but I'm gonna hold off. If we get to the point where we can use it, we'll get this short Sword and Shield style last. Possibility we might go 2 weapon style, but we'll see. But Borton is gonna be our tank. So we're gonna go Armor of Face on him. We need to give him some contrast.
Here I come, and the hells come with. Here I come, and the hells.
Gods grant me strength. I would be honored.
You'll soon sleep with the dead.
Steel yourselves. It is an honor.
I'll wash me beard in your blood. I'll be doing the leading now.
That sounds pretty dwarf-like.
Huh?
And you know what? Let's just go with that. So, Warden of Rostabel. And, as usual, Thalic's wife, Rachel. We are going to make Rachel a pure cleric. No. We're gonna make her a fighter druid. Yeah. Fighter druid. She's gonna be an elf. And elves gain 90% resistance to charm. I should have looked this up for Borton, but I got sidetracked talking about Borton. I apologize. We could look at his stuff later. But elves have 90% resistance to charm and sleep magics. Really good. +1 Thaco with bows, short swords, and long swords. Unfortunately, I don't plan to use any of those. And I don't plan to use any of these thieving abilities. Open locks, lock picks, open locks, pick locks, move silent, none of that. She gets +1 to Dex, -1 to Constitution. That's fine. She's going to be a druid. Wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. We may need to go half elf. Fighter druid. There we go. Half elf. So for the half elf, they gain 30% resistance to charm and sleep magics. Infravision. I don't even know if that works in this version. I don't know if I just don't know. Class Fighter Druid. Alignment has to be true neutral. Rolled past an 88. Damn it. We've all done it. We have all done it. $18.93, that's good. We'll try 10 more rolls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nope. Alright, so we need as high as charisma as we can go. Because she is a bard. I'm sorry, a druid. And we need as high as strength as we can go. We definitely want constitution. Yeah, that looks fine to me. Wish we can go a little bit lower in the wisdom, but that's alright. Now, skills for her, we're going to be going scimitar. We will be going club and spear as well. Then after this, I think what I want is for her to go 2-weapon style. I think. Character receives a +1 and +2 to damage. An extra half tack per round. And it goes up from there. Because she is a fighter, so I believe she should get that. And then with the 2-weapon style, goes. I think we can only get to level 3 in that. But the wielder's penalties are reduced by 2 with the main hand and by 6 with the offhand. And then the penalties are reduced to 0, -4, and then wielder penalties are 0 and -2. So, and then after that, we'll start going into club and spear. I think that's what we'll do with her. But she is also, above all else, she's going to be there for summons and for things like insect plague. Then she's going to move in once she does a little bit of support disrupt. She's utility DPS is the way that I'm looking at her. So for her, I am tempted to do Shillelagh, but I don't know. I'm really tempted. But I feel like it's kind of useless, I'm not going to lie. So we'll pick up a Bless to start, just to help out with buffs early on. of course, she needs to... match Thalic as closely as she can.
You would do well to fear a woman's wrath.
Is that right?
I shall slay you all. Your time draws near.
Okay. I was originally going to do her as a pure cleric, but this time around, as I said, with Icewind Dale, it's about party optimization, and I think I kind of want to be as optimized as possible, and I hear druids are really good. And then having her as a fighter there, like, you know, the summons help, the insect plague is going to be huge, and I haven't played a druid yet. So, well, I've played with Jaheira, I suppose that counts. But I rarely play druid, so I figured, screw it, why not? Go this route. Okay, and next we are going to go with a bard. This one is going to be based off a guy that I saw. He was not just my best friend when I was a kid. He was my brother. Like, he was family to not just me. He was family to my family. Oops. And he is going to be our bard, and he is going to be there for mostly support. Oh, a 90? Yeah. Man, look at that. Bard's of Charisma. Okay. Look at that. Now, for him, I really think I would kind of like to keep him at ranged, more so than anything else. But I do think a melee weapon would be smart. So let's go longsword. I'm going to give short bow to someone else, but ranged on him would be good. I'm thinking either sling or longbow, maybe crossbow. I think crossbow.
Gods grant me strength.
You'll soon sleep with the dead.
Come then.
Leader, how about a nap?
Yeah, the guy I'm basing this off of, he was the one who got me into my first two MMORPGs, got me into computers, got me into gaming in general. It's a shame how our friendship ended, but despite how it ended, he was a true... I've had two true friends in my life. The one I have now, and then, of course, him, you know, whenever I was coming of age, like I was in 6th grade when I met him, and all the way up until we were about 25 years old. It's a long time. So I would say we were probably, I don't know, somewhere in the ballpark of like between 12 and 14 years. He was my best friend, he was my brother, and even though he threw our friendship in the garbage and moved away, I still deeply value the friendship we had. when we were kids and young adults. Just an intellectual honesty thing. But anyway, yeah, his character, my original MMO character, was a complete copy of his, except for I took blonde hair while he had black hair. And, but yeah, so he's added to this. And next, we are going to create our wizard. It's going to be an elf. Sorry, mage. We're going to go with a regular mage, true neutral. I feel like we've been pretty lucky on our rolls so far. Originally, I tested it to see if I could skip all of this without having to do video editing. I can't stand the tedium of video editing anymore. I just find it annoying. I missed out on early dialogue and other stuff I just didn't want to miss out on. A prologue to the story and some early dialogue, so people are just going to have to sit through this or skip it. Uh, 86 should be good enough. Let's do, you know what, let's do 10 more rolls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Did not beat it. Recall it. Let's go. Don't need 16 strength. I should go higher than that. You know what? Go 13 strength so you can carry stuff. And here I'm actually going to do darts. I rarely do darts. I know I had them, I think in one of my... I think maybe I had them. I know at some point, I don't know if it was the one I recorded or one of my other many playthroughs of the Black Pits. I've had them, but let's see if we could actually make some use out of them here. So, sleep and magic missile are what we're going to start with, and we're going to pick sleep because the early game it's just too good. And appearance, try to stay close to the portrait.
Come then. It is a shame that I shall steer us true. Watch your back! Ha ha!
Good, I couldn't see anything back there anyway.
To the pain the learned should lead.
And lastly, we are going with a thief. Pure thief. Going to be a halfling. I keep forgetting to do this for all the characters. Whatever. They get a +2 to all saving throws versus paralysis, poison, death, huge, death, and spell are two major ones. Versus staff rod, staff, wand, and spell with additional bonuses based on Constitution. +1 THAC0 bonus to slings. We're not going to be using slings on them, unfortunately. This is big. +5 to thieving abilities. I don't know how much I'll use hide in shadows and move silently, but I'll take it all. I'll take all the thieving abilities you want to give me on this guy. +1 dex, -1 strength and wisdom. I don't care about wisdom. And I don't really care about strength because we're going to be using him as a ranged character than anything else. We're not doing any kits, we're just going straight up thief. Yeah, we're gonna skip all this. But it's here if you want to read it. If you want to pause and look at it. I feel like we're kind of dragging on with the video. It's time to kind of move. Now, evasion is something I believe that's new for this. When a thief is hit by a spell, it can be evaded, fireball, lightning bolt. The thief is allowed to save versus breath to completely avoid the effects. If the saving throw is failed, the spell works normally, including a save for half damage if the spell allows for it. The helpless thief cannot evade. So that's pretty nice. True neutral alignment. I wonder if 99 roll is a possibility. I wonder without cheating if anyone's ever gotten a 99. They had to, right? Of all the years, of all the people that have ever played this game, somebody at some point has had to roll a 99. Anyway, 87 is good enough. We'll do 10 more rolls, see if we get something better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nope. Looks good. And here I want find traps. Detect illusion is incredibly good too. That's probably the other thing we're gonna put points into. But I want to get a very high find traps and disarm traps. Oh, find traps and disarm traps are combined? I don't remember that. But yeah, I mean, we're going to put the rest in there then. Oh man, that's so useful. The next thing I think I'll do is detect illusions. That way we can get rid of, any illusion spells. So anyone who hides, anyone cast, visibility spells and mirror images, a hide detect illusion is going to be huge for that. So I'll probably put almost all my points into detect illusions once I get my find traps up to 100, and then throw a few points into open locks as well. Or maybe vice versa. I don't know. We got to be able to open doors. So for here, I want short sword or short bow. I want short sword in case we need to do any backstabbing, which is a possibility.
I'll take care of it. That's fine with me.
Hipos Toss cobble. And we are ready to go. So we will get through the intro, and after that, we'll move on to the next episode.
Our tale begins here, in the quiet fishing village of East Haven, one of the so-called 10 towns of Icewind Dale. The tiny community is hardly a town, but rather a collection of ramshackle huts crowded together upon the icy shores of Lech Dineshire. Here, within a dimly lit tavern, a group of travelers sit huddled around a table, swapping tales and making grand plans for the future, completely unaware of the part they are to play in the events that are about to unfold.
What's this? New face in town, eh? Well met, stranger. The name is Hrothgar, originally of Hillsfar. But now, after years of traveling up, down, and under Faerun, I am content to call this town my home. Who might you be?
Oh, greetings, Hrothgar. My name is Thalek.
Well then, welcome to East Haven. Whatever your business in these parts might be, I would offer you this small piece of advice. While you're in my town, you do well to be on your best behavior. These folk are under my protection, and anyone who would seek to do harm to them in any way shall answer to me. That said, I'll let you get back to your cups. I'm sure you've had a long journey, and you'll find there's no better way to shake off the cold of the road than by downing a few mugs of Grisella's best. And if you're in need of lodging, I would recommend talking to Quimby over at the Snowdrift Inn over on the east side of town. Equipment and supplies can be purchased next door at Pomab's Emporium. Pomab's prices are a bit high, even for a Kalashite. But you'd be better off well-equipped and short of coin than the other way around. Ill-prepared travelers don't last long in these parts. Once you've had a chance to rest up and get your bearings, come by and see me at my house. It's just a couple doors west of here. There's some business I would discuss with you. Farewell.
Farewell. All right. So here we are. Our party seems to be set pretty well. Everyone's in the position I like them in, I believe. Yep. So we'll go ahead and end it here, and I hope you all join me for the next one. Thank you for watching.